We're now going to join the full width to the half width. So you remember you've got the pin in the bottom right side of the fabric. Take your half panel, and you need to join it so that you join the selvage edge to the selvage edge. You don't want to join the cut side to the selvage edge. On my single half panel here, I've got the pin in the bottom right side. So with your right sides together, that's pins together, level up the bottom, match your selvage edges together, smooth the fabric out, and then we'll be ready to mark and pin and sew the two panels together. I'm now going to join my fabric panels together with a plain seam. I'm going to be using a seam allowance of 2 centimetres, so 2 centimetres in from the very edge. I'm not including the fluff in that, so 2 centimetres in from the edge. You clearly, as you can see with this fabric, there's a line down the side here where it's been on the loom. Obviously you need to make sure that that is out the way of your seam allowance. So go down the fabric at approximately 20 to 30 centimetre intervals, mark in 2 centimetres from the edge, and then with the long ruler lay it down the side, joining up all the little marks that you've made 2 centimetres in, and draw a line along. This line will be your sewing line. Right, and then you're just going to pin along the length, keeping your pins away from your pen mark so they don't interfere with the sewing machine. Now we can take it over to the machine and sew it. Lift your foot up and put the fabric underneath so that your pen line is going in between the groove at the front of the foot. Obviously choose a thread that is a complementary and matching colour. Do a few backwards and forward stitches to secure it in place, and then start stitching along the line. Try and keep the fabric straight and even as it goes through. This is actually quite a heavy fabric, so I've put a chair here just to take the weight of it, because if I didn't, the fabric would be wanting to pull away from the machine and it would make my line go wonky. So try and use a chair or a stool or anything just to take the weight of the fabric as you feed it through the machine. Keep it nice and straight. Don't pull it through the machine, just guide it through and let the machine do all the work. Finish off with a couple of backwards and forwards stitches to secure it. Right. Bring your fabric back over to the table, lay it flat and take your pins out, and you're now going to check to make sure that the bottom of your fabrics are in line with each other and they haven't slipped, because sometimes when you stitch them together, particularly if you start at the top and sew down, they can slip slightly apart from each other. So smooth the fabric out, and remember which is your bottom because you've got the pin already in the fabric. So this is my bottom end here, and with it still folded, you can check that you've got it straight at the bottom. So I started stitching at the bottom and my fabrics have stayed together. They haven't slipped apart, but if they had, I would lay my L ruler along the bottom, getting it straight in line with this selvage. You don't want to take too much off the length. And lay the ruler on. Take the L ruler away, draw along the line, and then just trim your fabric so that they're level at the bottom. Right, I'm now going to iron the seam open. So lay the fabric down with the wrong side facing up, the right side down so that we can see the seam. And with a medium iron, always test your fabric first though, medium iron, just iron the seam open. If you're working with a linen that's going to crush really easily as you manoeuvre it, I recommend that you iron it all over first so that if there's any shrinkage, that won't affect the finished length of the curtain. So with any creasy fabric, always good to iron it first.